Just getting started on this door. Just brought it in from sandblasting. And you know, it's got the same issues. A little bit of a, you know, got the odd little pinhole here on the corners. So, like I mentioned on that door there, we're here. I'm going to cut it out, repair all the pinholes on the other side, and then you don't have to worry about it for forever if it's looked after. But I want this to be straight so when I weld it back up, I'm not going to have any issues here. Because if you weld it and it's all warped up, it's going to be pretty hard to straighten out. So it's just got a little dent over here. I think that's going to be pretty good. Alright. A little bit more over here. Yeah, it's dented in right here. You can see, looks like you got the trim that went all the way along here and somebody hit the trim, pushed it in. So I'm going to have to bring nails all the way along here. That's alright. I got lots of them. Alright. Making up some patches here. Now I'll cut them out, and then I'll head back outside and I'll sandblast the inside. Got a nice day out today, so it'll all work out. Alright, that'll work. Just gotta build one for the other side now. We got to put a bit of a curve in this, you know, to fit the profile. So I just put between the vise. Looks pretty good. There's just a couple pits there, and of course, you know, we got a couple holes there, but that's easy one to weld up. A lot better than I thought it was going to be. She's all cleaned up. Time to give her a little bit of primer here. I'll give her a couple coats. The other side as well. It looks good. Now you wonder why, why are you grinding all this stuff up? Well, the last thing you want to do is leave a hump or a bump and allow dust to collect in here. The smoother everything is, you're able to blow it out, or, it's just not going to collect as much. Is that really going to happen? I think it might. In my mind, it does. There's nothing wrong with throwing a little seam sealer down as well. If you got some small pits, that'll just be one more layer of protection. Don't get it anywhere close where you're going to be welding though. You want to stay away from that. Just got some very, very minor pits there, but let's throw some on there. Sleep better. Time to tack this patch on. Time to get started on the inside. Hopefully get some body filler on here. I think we should be able to. So, got a couple nasties in here. We just have to give them a quick little pull. So not that bad. Which door is this? This is the passenger side. Huh. Pretty beat up for a passenger door. But could be just the way it's stored too. A lot of people just chuck their doors around, they don't really care. Till a day they have to do a repair. Time for some filler. It's kind of nice to be at this stage. And then I don't know what the rest of the inside is like yet. I still haven't, gone around and sanded or anything like that. But when this is drying, maybe I'll throw the sander on and see if we find some more dents. We will. So we're wheeling in on the end of the day. I got the big door open and I'm gonna strip the paint out of here, off the door. And it's the messy job, so wait till the very end of the day, and it's gonna get everywhere, but camera's outside. Just using my little fiber pad. Well, in the last segment, you saw me grinding out all this filler that was in this door. And you know what? It was almost 1/4 of an inch, and not more. And I put my straight edge on there, and I'm going, where did all that Bondo go? You know, like, why did they put it in here? But there's still a crease going down here that was, you know, very poorly repaired. Well, you know, I got to give them 50%. I'll show you a little closer in a second. But that made me a lot happier, because I ground off this whole door thinking that, oh no, this was going to be a disaster, but it's better than I thought. That doesn't usually happen. It's always usually worse than what you think. We still got to do some pulling here. You know, it looked like there was a pretty good, you know, crease here, and there's still a couple more dents. But yeah, better than I thought. Up here, pretty good. I got a couple of dents up here I got to repair. But for the most part, I'm really glad, because I put a lot of work in down here, assuming this was going to be okay. Maybe that's a lesson learned. Get rid of the paint. See what kind of shape the door is in first before you go ahead. But they don't make these doors every day. Well, I guess they do. They're not as good as the original though. And I want to keep everything as original as possible. The doors fit better, they're heavier. Everything about them is just better, so I go through a lot of effort just to try and keep the original equipment. All right, I'm going to show you a little closer up here and get started on pulling some dents. Gonna get some filler on my welds down here, some fiber glass filler, and I think we could probably get, well, we might be able to get most of the body work done today. Let's see. You can see that they used a slide hammer here, drilled some holes to pull this crease out. They did an okay job. They went a little bit too far. I'm gonna have to shrink this down a little bit. But I give them kudos for welding up the holes. You know, most people they don't bother with that. But this guy did, and that's why he gets a 50%. Pretty poor job of pulling, man. Especially when there's a big hole right here in behind. Could have just popped it out. But I'm going to use my stud gun. I find I got more control that way. And I'll just slowly yank that out, massage it out. Takes a lot of nails though to get things right. That's a lot better than drilling holes and using a slide hammer though. Yeah, that's way better. Just shrinking down some of the high spots I got here. Usually, you know, on a door or a hood, you know, your high spots, it's hard to pound them down because, you know, they get stretched a little bit. So you just shrink them down the gun. Always check to make sure that you're not going to go too far. Yeah, I know most people don't know this trick, but it definitely works. You got to give it a try. This one just pulled a little bit too much when the prior repair was done, but it's coming along good. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. Right there. It's probably good. Alright, we're just about ready for some filler. And if you have to do it again, you know, when you get a high spot with your filler, it's not a big deal. Time to put on some filler. I'm just using the fiberglass, you know, filler. Might as well use it up here. Good adhesion, a little tougher. Tell right away as soon as you put it on, it feels pretty good. And all the spots where we did the rust work. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'll give it a file and then I'm just gonna sand it with my orbital. So I'm not really worried about saving the world or anything like that with this. But we'll get her close. This coat will tell the story whether or not everything's going to be fine and dandy. I think it's going to be good. It's another nice day out there today. Just makes, you know, when the weather's nice, just makes working so much better. Got a couple cool days coming next week, but it's all right. You know, just the initial few strokes here, this is going to turn out okay. It's still got a little bit of a low spot here. We can put it on thick enough, but that's all right. And that's a big relief for me, because when I started grinding out that filler last night, oh, I thought this was going to end my week. But it's made my day. This up here is perfect now. Let's see how this turns out. I have one little spot there. I pulled that dent and I pulled it a little far. When that happens, just tap it down a little bit. You can always come back and add a tiny bit of filler later. But if it's too high, then your board's going to be riding high. And then you won't get really nice body work. Now this one here, this just ended up being a high spot. Doesn't like to be pounded down, so I'm just going to shrink it. Yeah, it's coming down. Good. I'll just give it a light little grind and then refill that little spot right here too. No, that's way better. Well, the body work is all done and it looks really good. Just gonna put on the putty here just to, you know, put that one coat on just to make sure everything's nice and even and looking good. And then we can just finish these up. And then on the next day, hopefully, I think the weather's going to be good, we're going to prime these. That's a big step. When you get primer on, you know, it just seems like, you know, job's kind of done. The odd cootie every once in a while, man, that's just the worst. I like to say other things, but you know, trying to keep it clean. Now I just have to finish up the inside here on this door. Should get my log going here, so you're right back. I waited until it was done. The outside was done before I did my final coat of putty here. And it's just going to make, it got beat up a little bit, but not bad. So we got that door done. Got to finish the first one that we got started on. And then next day, hang them and prime them. They're looking really good. I put them on my truck. Just stroking them right now with 80 grit. And that's going to be enough, and then primer will look after the rest. So I figured I was done. It's looking really nice, but just, you know, out of the corner of my eye I see this little bit of a shadow here. And sure as heck, we got ourselves a little dent. So I'll put a little filler on that, and then I'll just sand that out in the morning. We're done for the day. These are the things that just happened. Just finishing up all the little things before we hang it. These little nitpicky things, they take a little bit of time, but just got to turn the mind off and go slow. Just getting ready to prime. So I got everything hung up, got to blow everything off yet, but we're going to throw on a coat of epoxy primer and then a couple coats of high build. I'm going to do both sides. The interior, I think I'm just going to, 2 good coats of high build, and that should be enough to get that done. And then the outside, of course, we'll give that a sand job and then give it another spray. But yeah, this is a big moment here, because that's another big step. When you get primer on something, man, I tell you, that really, really feels good. But they look good. I think it's going to turn out great. Okay. A little spot right there I could probably sand. Man, you see everything. You walk around, you blow it off a little bit, and then next thing you know, you see a little spot that you didn't sand properly, and it just goes on forever. Well, it's been a couple days. It's actually been really cold here, so they've been sitting in the shop. It's been a little bit cold, but I think everything's going to be fine. A little spot right there, and it's not going to take very long as there's no issues. I see there's a couple pinholes that we'll have to fill, but for the most part, everything looks really, really nice. So I think that it shouldn't take me very long to sand it down. I'm using 150. And then when we get everything looking good the way we want it, hang them, another coat of primer. On the back side, that's it. I'm not putting any more primer on that. It's just going to have to be, if there's an issue later on, I can just give it a little bit of a spot prime. That's all you're going to need for the inside. But no, I'm just looking at this and everything looks pretty good. So we'll give it a coat of guide, and then we'll start sanding. And we'll see how the day goes. Maybe we get some primer on. When you're doing, when you get closer to finishing your sanding, go with a little bit of a lighter stroke. If you're really pushing hard, then you're pushing the metal down. Lighter, not lightest, but like just a medium. You don't want to just be pushing really hard. You know what I mean? And if you push hard, it seems like it gums up your paper a lot more too. Very few pinholes to deal with here. But I want to get them done before prime. Which is good news because the guy doesn't like dealing with these things. But they happen. It's part of life. It's almost not worth mixing anything up for, but I'm using my 2-part simply because it's pretty cool in my shop, and you know, if I want to prime today, this is all got to set up, so I want to get it done. There's some up here. Now I'm catching this before it gets uber hard, and just go with a nice light touch. Still using some 150 here. If you start pressing on it hard, you're going to start sanding around here, and then you're going to end up making your body work crooked. Doesn't take much. Done. You know, these Fords, when you have the windows and stuff in there, it's almost a 2-guy operation to move one of these things. So it's kind of nice when there's no hardware. But if you had to do this with the window in there, yeah, that's a big job. All right, let's get some new sandpaper. Get at her. Now you want your last coat of primer to be pretty, so give it a bit of a tack here. Doesn't take much. Well, everything's dry. It's all set up. Time to store. So these are going in the shed until we're ready. And then the next thing coming in is the cab. Good call. Can't wait to get the cab done. That's a big part of it as well. But the doors are, oh man, I'm so happy the way they turned out. Yeah, I missed it. Anyway, that's the end of this episode. I'm going to put these in the shed, bring in the cap. We're going to get started on that today. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.